welcome to another Try Your Hand. Today we will be painting this bird feeder. Alright, why don't we get started with the supplies? For the supplies, the first thing that you'll need is a birdhouse. You will also need some paint. We gave you 4 or 5 different colors, but if you want different colors than the ones that you got, you can use the Folk Art acrylic outdoor paint. That's what we used. You will also need some brushes. We provided you with one about the size of the one to the very right, and then like a cup filled with water to wash off your brushes between colors. Last thing that you'll need is a paper towel to blot your brushes. Okay, so now we can get started with painting the birdhouse. One of the things that you can do beforehand, if you want to, is to sand some of the edges. The wood that this bird feeder is made out of is a bit rough, so if you want to have smoother edges, you can take a bit of sandpaper and just lightly sand in those areas where you start getting like splinters and things like that. I decided not to do that because I didn't feel as if it was necessary. So then I just got started with the painting. So I have these 5 different colors. I ended up only using 4 of the 5. But I believe that here I just decided to paint the very top of my bird feeder red. So when I started painting, I just, of course, you take a glob of paint onto your brush and you start brushing it onto your bird feeder. With this paint, you do need to do 2 different coats because the first coat isn't quite opaque. So I just started brushing on the paint. You don't want it to be too gloppy because then, because this is acrylic paint, it dries really quickly. So brush strokes and things can be very visible if you take more paint than is necessary. So you do want to do those 2 thinner coats. If this small brush that we gave you is taking too long, you can, of course, always use a larger brush. That smaller brush is really good for details, and if you want to paint those little vertical lines on the roof of the bird feeder a different color, that small brush will come in handy. So here I'm showing you what the first coat of paint looks like on the bird feeder. It doesn't really show on camera very well, but you can see through the paint more than I would like. So I did do a second coat, and I will show you what that looks like now. So here it is with the second coat. Again, very hard to see through camera, but I did like how it looked a lot better with that second coat of paint on. Luckily, because this paint dries so quickly, like right after I was finished with coat 1, I could do coat 2. So now I decided that I wanted to paint the sides of my bird feeder to be blue. That meant that I needed to wash off my brush. So I swirled it around in my water a bit, and when I was done with that, I brushed it off on that paper towel that I had, just to make sure that all of the red was off of my brush so that I could use the blue. Otherwise, the first few brush strokes of my blue would look a little purple. So then I started painting the sides of the birdhouse blue. Again, I did a second coat for my blue because the blue wasn't as opaque as I wanted it to be. So this is a little bit easier to do because they are very flat surfaces. You don't have to paint the edges by where like the little windows are, but if you do, you can do it. I would just say that if you get any paint on the plastic of the little windows, to wipe it off right away, because once it dries, it is a little bit harder to take off. You can scrape it off with like your fingernails or something, but because this is like a waterproof paint, once it's dry, it's harder to take it off with like water or something. So there's that. Also, what you could do is use masking tape or any like artist tape sort of deal to cover those windows to protect them. but otherwise you can just leave them. That's fine too. So once I was done with the outside with both coats, what I did was paint the inside of it because when it's empty, you can see like the plain wood on the inside. So I thought, hey, why not paint the inside? Um, that is a little bit harder because, again, you can't really take anything apart here, but you do have a giant hole at the top, so you can just stick your brush in and just brush. The inside does not have to be perfect at all because most of the time, if you're going to use it as a bird feeder, it's going to be covered in seeds anyway. So I was really not careful at all. And I think I only did one coat on the inside because you don't really need a second coat. As you can see also, I did get a lot of blue like on the like the platform that the bird feeder is on, and that is okay. Mostly because I actually have a plan for what I'm going to paint on that platform. So I'm just, sticking my hand in there with the brush and just painting away. Okay, so for the bottom platform of the bird feeder, I wanted to make it look like grass. I did not have green though, so I used yellow as my base and then added a little bit of blue to make a green color. So I was definitely not perfect with this because really grass, when you look at grass, it's not just one shade of green. Sometimes it's like a lighter yellowy green, or sometimes it's a very dark, you know, dark green. So what I did was just paint yellow, and then while the yellow paint was still a little bit wet, go in with some blue and like dab it in and mix it so that you could get those different shades of green that I was looking for to make it look a little bit more like natural, like grass. So again, you do not have to be perfect. You don't have to make perfect brush strokes. You can just literally just shove your brush and mix it around as much as you want because again, I'm trying to emulate grass, and grass, when it grows, it goes every which way. So again, it does not have to be perfect. So the last thing that I did was to put in some decoration on my bird feeder. So I took a little bit of white on my brush. I did put a little bit extra than I normally would, and then just with the very edge of my brush, dabbed a bit of white paint on the sides by the windows. So that's supposed to kind of emulate um, little light fixtures, but also I feel like it kind of looks a little bit like it has like a little bit of a, I don't know, a Norwegian kind of feel or design too, sort of like a Christmas sweater kind of thing. I don't know. I have no idea how to explain this, but it kind of gives me that like feel. I don't know how else to describe that. Um, so I just did that on each side of the bird feeder, and then I also added little white dabs at the edge of my roof as well. And I thought that ended up looking really, really cute. So you can do whatever it is that you want. You could put like flower vines on the side of your bird feeder. You can put, um, you can paint little like seeds on the side of your bird feeder. Um, you can really do whatever you want. Be creative as much as you want. After that, really, I just left it out to dry, and then you should probably go around and see where else you can put this and fill it with some bird seed. And this is my finished product. As you can see the little white dots I made and the grass. So I'm really excited to see yours. So if you would like to share your bird feeders with us, you can send it through our Facebook page, and you can also send it through our Instagram account. So if you tag us, we will see it, and we hope to see your projects. If you're interested in doing any more Try Your Hands, there are the two that we have planned are bookbinding and leatherworking. So if you're interested, sign up for that. All right, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.